Greetings from the Be Kind podcast. We're just one part of the Animal Advocates of South Central PA's mission to create a more compassionate world for all living beings. Today, you get to hang out with me, Joe, Director of Operations at the Animal Advocates of South Central PA, and John, our Director of Media. So this is the relaunching of the Be Kind podcast, and originally we had done it with Roxy over in her house in West York, but she has had the honor of having another baby. Congratulations,
yes.
Roxy.
Woohoo! Roxy, you're awesome.
Yep, so her family just got much bigger. She's got a lot more on her plate, and she will still be involved, we hope, because she's great and has a lot of cool insight to offer. But we decided to move the podcast headquarters over to my house, which is in York City. So if you hear any weird ambient noise, that's probably Spanish rap music from a car on the corner, or my dog or cat or cuckoo clock. So we still are looking to keep her involved and keep the team together. But as we said, a lot going on in her life, so she needs to really focus her time and energy where it matters most. But John and I, we are single guys without any kids, so we got a lot more.
And with this whole coronavirus thing, we have a little bit more free time, so we'll be able to step it up and do some more of these episodes and stuff like that. And yes, we did get upgrades, and you're probably noticing that the quality is a little better. But Roxy did a tremendous job with everything, and we love her. So we just, we wanted to make it a little bit easier for her with, like he said, she just had a new addition to the family. So we're trying to make it as easier for her as possible and also make us even better than we were before. Mm-hmm. But yes, Roxy is awesome. She rocks.
Yeah.
Bad jokes.
That's like the third pun of the day,
yeah.
I think. All right, so we're going to start off this episode with our vegan moment or thought of the week. And here's something that I thought of, technically not this week, it was probably a week or so before. But one of my favorite movies used to be Lord of the Rings. And then I was doing some thinking, and then I realized that it's really kind of messed up how horses are used in it all the time. And lots of horses die in the movie. I'm sure some horses died making the movie. It doesn't even factor in all the other non-vegan themes and exploitation in there. And then that got me thinking, how many movies can I not watch now with a good moral conscience? And it's really kind of bummed me out. So I'm just trying to find the ethical ground for my consumption of media. Because even something like people eating meat in a movie kind of grosses me out now too. So I guess veganism has ruined everything I love. John, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, yeah, you bring up an excellent point. But they do have regulations and stuff. I forget what organization started it, but usually at the end of a movie it'll say, these animals were not harmed during the making of this movie and stuff like that. So there is that, but there is always a chance that something did happen, but they are usually pretty careful about that. But I see what you're saying, like, you see people riding horses and making dogs do these tricks and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, it's almost like you're definitely exploiting them for entertainment. So it's like, yeah, this is definitely an interesting topic. But like I said, they try to make sure that the animals are not hurt during that process, or obviously, or killed. But I'm sure it has happened at some point.
And in my mind, too, if there are movies that have already been made and been out for a few years, does it really make a difference if I watch it at this point, as opposed to a movie that just came out
right.
that has it?
Well, I mean, a lot of movies now they're really starting to use a lot of CGI for the animals, so there's no animals. Like that movie that just came out with Harrison Ford, I think it was Call to the Wild or whatever. There's a dog in it, but it's completely CGI. And so, I mean, they are getting away from using animals, which is great. They're becoming more aware of, the exploitation. So,
and it's, speaking of that, one of my favorite movies are the 2 new Godzilla movies that came out, and those are all CGI. No giant monsters were harmed in the making of those films.
That's good news, because I don't want to hear, in the paper or online or something that something terrible happened to Mothra,
Well, Mothra did, I think, get destroyed pretty handily in that movie.
Poor Mothra.
Mothra's a terrible monster. And then there's the whole do bugs matter morally thing. But let's not get into that.
That's a whole nother
can
of worms.
Mothra is very much a sentient being. If you know your Godzilla lore, it is a god that is worshipped by the people of, I think, one of the Incan islands. It has these two little miniature twins who are the kind of priestesses. It's all very, very fascinating. And if you ever want to talk about it, please call me and we could talk about it forever and ever because I love Godzilla and I'm very lonely. Another thought I just had about this. So I read books more than I watch movies.
Mm.
And if a book has a very non-vegan theme in it, even though it's not technically involving the animals, is it still bad because it's promoting wrong ideology?
Well, I mean, I guess it would depend on the subject. I mean, like the actual story. Apparently, Frank had something to say about that. I don't know if that picked it up or not, but apparently Frank is not excited about books with animals in it. But yeah, I mean, you're just using your thinking, you're using your imagination in that process. So, I mean, that's really up to the reader of how they handle that. So,
I guess it's all things in context. I mean, we live in
Right.
a non-vegan world, so if you are, most things will take place in the world as it is, which happens to be non-vegan, so there'll be non-vegan stuff all over the place. So I
Right.
guess trying to find that, again, ethical ground that you're personally comfortable with is always what it comes down to. And yeah, I guess you just got to take it case by case and context by context.
Right. That's kind of how I feel about it. And the same with, any kind of media like that. Like, you just got to kind of just take it with a grain of salt, like hopefully nothing happened to these animals and hopefully nobody does anything to animals because of the content. So, yeah.
Goodbye, Lord of the Rings. I will miss you. So now we also are going to do our update on our animal companions. As anyone who knows me knows, I live with a black cat and a very large greyhound, both of which infuriate me and give me love to no end. So the cat is just sitting here right
He's
now.
literally sitting here right next to us during our podcast and he's kind of making a frumpy face. It's hilarious.
Frumpy is his go-to. He goes from incredibly affectionate to very ornery very quickly, like most cats. And then my dog, he is sleeping for probably 20 hours a day and pooping on the floor less and less every single day. Except today he pooped on the floor a decent amount. But it's all right, as long as he's trending in the right direction. And John, how are your fluffy friends doing?
So yeah, I have two dogs. They're doing really good. We have a dog. His name is Mullet. He is over 130 plus pounds.
Oh my God.
We're working on that. So I walk him as much as I can because he's a big dog.
Well, he might have to start rolling him soon.
Well, I think he is actually starting to lose some of the weight now because he's. It's so funny to see, but I'll sprint with him a little bit here and there, and he's just so big that no, it's hilarious. I actually had a couple people ask if he was pregnant because he looks so big, and it's hilarious. But he's actually, I think he's lab mixed with Mastiff, I think. But I call him the dog-faced manatee. And it's funny because he looks like a manatee or a killer whale. And sometimes he jumps for his leash when we go for a walk. Like when I go to grab it, he gets so excited. He'll like jump up and I'm like, oh, it's like Free Willy because he's like jumping.
I'd be scared of that dog jumping. You know,
Yeah.
elephants can't jump because they'll break their legs if they jump. Maybe
So, yeah, I've been trying to get him to like stop doing that because all that weight on him could hurt him or me because he's actually clawed my back already, like in the process of doing his excitement thing. And then I have a Catahoula, which if you're not familiar, I learned this through my aunt because she tells me this all the time. She is a Catahoula, which is a Native American dog that was bred for hunting and killing. So it's really hard for us to get any other smaller pets because she will eat them. And it makes me so sad because I want a cat so bad and I can't have a cat because she will eat the cat. But she's a great dog. We actually rescued her from Louisiana. They were going to terminate her because she is white. And she's also deaf in her right ear, which she has 2 strikes against her.
Is being white bad for that kind of dog?
Yes. So typically they kind of have this. They're also known as a leopard Catahoula. They usually have spots like a leopard, and they're kind of they're real earthy looking and gray and brown, and they look like they're camouflaged. So she's white, so they were just gonna execute her, and we saved her. And she's a great dog, but totally insane at the same time. But and she doesn't poop on the floor. My dogs are really good about not pooping on the floor, not to rub that in your face. But they are great dogs. They really are. I love them.
Hey, poop on the floor is just an opportunity to build your patience, right?
That's right.
Well, Frank is very big, but he's not very heavy, thank God. He's only like 60 pounds.
Yeah, he's kind of, he needs to gain some weight a little bit there, but yeah, he's a sweet dog. I like him a lot.
And yeah, that's what's up going on with our little furry friends in our homes. All rescued, it sounds like. So don't send us hate mail. They're all our. They'd be dead if it wasn't for us, probably.
Yes, probably.
So we're gonna cash in on the whole coronavirus thing for the time being, because honestly, there's really nothing else. There's nothing that. Yeah, this is all people want to talk about. Let's be real. Just go on Facebook and it's literally every other post. If that is being underestimated, I think almost every post is something along the lines of coronavirus or people talking about how they don't want to talk about the coronavirus, which counts as talking about the coronavirus. So I want to focus a little bit more on the vegan take on this, specifically some of the reactions I've seen. So first, I'm going to get the whole PETA thing out of the way. PETA is generously selling $3 face masks that you can put on that say "Go Vegan" on them, and it's just such a typical PETA cashing in on everything and being awful and oversimplifying the issue as always, which transitions nicely into what most people are saying, where it's the whole "I told you so, if we all were just vegan, none of this would be happening, y'all." And yeah, I guess in a world where everyone was compassionate towards animals and practice that in their everyday life and their ethics closely follow their actions, most problems wouldn't exist between war and poverty and all that, animal exploitation. If everyone lived a truly vegan ethical lifestyle, basically every problem in the world probably wouldn't exist. But reducing that and choosing this as the hill to die on and this time and place just seems real silly to me. John, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I do think it is kind of funny that, well, not funny, but kind of silly that PETA is doing that with the face mask. It's like, I've seen that, and I saw that, they were just like, oh, like, wear these masks. And it's like, wow, you're really trying to, like, cash in on this. It's like, you should be helping people, not pushing your agenda necessarily. And it's like, come on. But, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's just... people just need to, like, take a deep breath and just, not try and blame certain groups of people or even species. I mean, I just saw something about people are blaming bats for the whole coronavirus. I mean, I don't know how true that is, and even if it were, like, it's like, you can't just... I don't know. I feel like they need to, like, not do that because that's going to make people go crazy and start killing all the bats. Like, no matter what kind of bat it is, like, they're just going to start killing bats, and they already have a bad rep. So it's like, don't do that.
They might go batshit crazy. Is what you're saying?
Yes, they might. But yeah,
go. Well, I mean, you can advocate for veganism on literally probably any topic, and
Right.
So when everyone's freaking out about stuff and getting on edge and on stressful and all that, the last thing you want to do is add more fuel to that fire in that conversation by saying something, well, yeah, life sucks right now, but if you were vegan, none of this would have happened,
Right.
kind of deal.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we got to stop doing the whole "I told you so" thing. Like, that's not going to help us. It could backfire real easily. People would just be turned off by that. And I kind of feel like I'm turned off by it, and I'm a vegan, and I don't really want to say, "Ha, I told you so" about that, because, I mean, it's not helpful.
And then the whole bat thing, too. You're right. They don't get a good reputation by any stretch between Dracula and then vampire bats. And then they're also kind of scary looking. No offense to bats, but that's just my own
I
thoughts
think
and
they look
opinion.
like sky puppies.
I don't know what kind of puppies you have, but
Sky puppies?
it'd be a good name for a band.
It would be a great name for a band, but I don't know. I think they're cute. Like, well, it depends on the bat too. I mean, some are pretty funny looking, but most of them I think are just kind of cute.
But I did hear that they are pretty sure the coronavirus stemmed from not factory farms or anything that directly relates to veganism, as most people see as fighting and combating, but from pangolin bushmeat or consumption of pangola meat. And pangolas are basically like giant armadillos, I suppose. And they were from a port in China. So it's even if the world did go vegan, it probably wouldn't have done anything because the consumption of these isn't really related to standard animal agriculture. It's more
Right.
related to indigenous people, rural
Right.
poverty, and all that, trying to find a living by selling the only thing they have around, which are weird armored armadillo things that rich people love to spend lots of money on and eat in China, apparently.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's all a lot more crazy and complicated and ridiculous than we know. And I think reduce it down to just go vegan and none of this will happen is very silly. And we should try and be a little more critical about it.
I agree. But you should go vegan, just not because of that.
Yeah, you should go vegan because the animals shouldn't die, not because viruses happen.
Right.
That's the whole reason you should. And we shouldn't have to have people dying left and right for people to want to go vegan. It should just be something that they do because it makes sense from their ethical stance.
Exactly. I agree.
Another part pisses me off about the vegan reaction to this is just because you're vegan doesn't mean you won't get sick. I don't care what juice you're drinking, what supplements you're taking, how many pieces of broccoli you ate, you could still get coronavirus.
Absolutely.
Well, if you do get it and you're vegan, all of a sudden you're not doing it right or something.
Yeah, you're probably going to see a lot of cases like that because people, they have this mindset where they think that veganism is the cure-all for everything, and it's not. I mean, yes, you can do healthy things and it'll help you, but it's not a cure for anything at all. I mean, it just isn't.
I think, did you read Seth's blog post? Seth is one of our other volunteers and board members at Animal Advocates, and he had a blog post about how he's vegan and had a heart attack, so it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be invincible.
Right. I mean, there's so many factors that can play into that. It could be genetics, it could be anything really, and it's like we need to, just be aware of yourself and just take care of yourself. But there's some things you cannot prevent. I mean, we're humans. That's what we do. We get sick and die.
So I guess my message to all vegans out there and suggestion would be to think a little bit more critically before you start advocating for veganism in this context, in this climate, and really come at it from more of an empathetic perspective rather than a aggressive, in-your-face, I told you so type angle.
Agreed.
So the Be Kind podcast is an extension of the Animal Advocates South Central PA, and as a result, I feel it's our due diligence to give you a nice update on all things animal advocates, especially in light of these tumultuous and uncertain times. So, elephant in the room, a lot of events everywhere are getting canceled left and right, so you probably won't see us out in public for the next few weeks in any kind of advocacy setting. If your job is to engage over 250 people, having a law in place that prevents gatherings over 250 people makes that pretty difficult. But we do have some other cool things in the books. John, do you have any of those that written down that you could probably elaborate on?
I do. So we are going to obviously keep the podcast going, even if we have to do it through callers or whatever. We actually just tested that out and it sounded great. So we will keep doing the podcast. We will still keep doing videos if we can, and we'll give people updates on things like that. We do plan on keeping up with the vegan spotlight, and we were going to try and do a cooking show. We'll see how that goes. That was something we were going to do with Leg Up Farms Farmer Market. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, we do have some stuff coming up. We just... like you said, we need to be careful about doing group things like that, but we're going to still be active, just in different ways. So yeah, just stay tuned to our website and our Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff.
And we still want to have people stay involved. So one thing we're looking at is doing a commercial, I believe.
Yes.
So if you're looking to help out with that, take a leadership position out, or really just offer anything you can, please reach out to us on our Facebook page. Is always the best place to get to us. And this podcast itself, we're always looking for guests with unique, interesting perspectives, cool experiences, or just people who want to hang out with us for a bit and talk about vegan stuff. And then always looking for blog posts too. So if you're a writer, you don't want to put your face or voice out there, you can put your words out there. Again, Facebook page, reach out to us, get in touch and we'll be more than happy to find something for you to do.